start with my thought process behind most of my trades. Isaac also mentioned that, it would be a good thing to look at my process. And again, it's the same thing over and over. Just being mechanical with everything basically is, how I like to trade. So for my higher time frame bias, as usual, this one I'm just gonna take like 2 minutes, let's say 3 minutes to go over it. I have just the directional time frame, which is usually the monthly, weekly, and daily. I have my confirmation time frame, which is from the weekly if I'm taking my monthly as my directional time frame, and then daily and H4 respectively. As simple as that. I see a sweep and a rejection for building bias. If I'm building with liquidity, this is an example of building with liquidity, right? Let's assume this is the daily. I see a sweep of the previous day's high and a closure. I'm good. I see direction seems to be bearish, right? So in this case with liquidity, we are looking for a sweep and a closure, and that's what we have here, a sweep right here and a closure. All I need to do now is go down to the H4 and look for a breakout like this. Basically, that's it. You've confirmed that your bias is bearish. Next thing you're looking for is your entry. So your entry time frames are from your 2 hours, from your 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour. That's if you are using H4 as your confirmation time frame. And then you're just looking for some type of confirmation, or you want to take a direct entry, right? So that's basically it. And most times they always tell you if your system cannot be spoken about in 2-3 sentences, it's too complex. And so that's what I trade. And even I refine mine to mostly sells because I prefer sells. So when I'm buying, I buy very rarely, maybe 20% of the time. So I focus on my sells because I'm more comfortable with sells. So it's basically as simple as that. Now, from the trades I took last week, I'm going to start with XAUSD. Before that, by the way, because I have something very important that I put down here, which is your key levels of interest. Your A-shaped key levels are first, that's for buys, V-shaped key levels for sales, or V-shaped key levels for buys rather, A-shaped V levels for sales. But if it's disrespected, obviously it turns to a, what they call a support, turns to resistance, right? So it could then be used for sales. I'm just doing this because this is exactly what I used to catch my sell on BTC. I mean, on XAUSD. In fact, everything, to be very honest, especially XAUSD and USDCHF. This simple thing, that's it. Now, looking at A-shape, A-shape key levels, V-shape key levels, QM levels, and FVGs are higher time frame key level. FVGs on higher time frames are also very solid key levels. Now, that's FVGs are used primarily for USDJPY. Now, let me start from the trades that I took that were winners, right? So I took myself, this is where everything started for me for XAU. On the daily, I had already confirmed that we were having a rejection off of this level right here, right? So this was, rejection off of this key level. And then you've seen this is your sweep and you have a closure, right? That's it right there. So step one, complete. Go to your H4. Okay, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a break of structure. And there was one break of structure here. There was yet another break of structure here. I didn't find any entry. I had something here because this right here is actually a break of structure, right? But after this sweep of this high, that makes this high protected high. I had this, but I also had this QM on the H4. I missed this. This was my best expectation, right? And that was after this low had been broken. After this 4-hour candle has given up me a breakout. The downside, I was expecting that. I missed this. I didn't get this one. Where I took mine was here from this breakout right here. Now, so if you come down to the 4-hour, this 4-hour is giving me a breakout. But something very important here is this fair value gap right here. right? And what key level is overlapping that fair value gap, this key level. It's an open close key level. I also have 4-hour liquidity right here, swept. This is my exact setup. There's nothing, like literally nothing. I go down to the 2 hours. I check, do I see anything? I have an engulfing here, but I would have missed my trade. I go down to the 1 hour. What do I have here? So if you check the group, this is the exact setup I had. This is the exact setup I had. I see my engulfing. I put my limit. I just put my limit and I take my trade all the way down. I cover a couple of key levels above. I take my 3R. It's really nothing to it. Like it's as simple as literally ABC. So this was my trade on BTC. I also had this level. I had this level. I think I shared it. I was expecting actually that this would be a reversal level, but this gave us liquidity here. But I'm sure there was something on the higher time frame there was this key level here that price swept this and then started giving us breakout structures to the upside. But overall on the weekly, we're actually bullish. We were bullish. We had this sweep of the previous weekly low, and this high was still standing. So overall, actually even on the monthly, we are bearish, right? So, but you can use those intermediate time frames to, if you know your structure, if you know your phases of the market, so there is expansion and there is reversals. When you look at the way the market is going, you see that these are massive expansions, right? So market is okay. And within this, on the higher time frame, this can be a reversal, while there is a higher time frame, bullish move. As you can see, this is likely a high. On the higher time frame, if you look at it, this was a breakout structure also right up here. Price is reversing in here to take more buys all the way to take this high. That's a very huge possibility because we've had sales for a while, right? I'm just trying to look, because you need context, right? And you need to look at structure also. So I was anticipating a buy, and I had this level here, but I didn't get any good reaction. It was like a, just serious manipulation. But there was this key level on the 4-hour too that price used to take it up. And then, I also had this QM, but this was too deep for me to even try. But I had this level, and I'm seeing price, buy from there. So that's it for me for BTC. I'll still be anticipating some buys, for next week. But obviously, I'm not engaging on Monday. So we'll see what the market does. So that's it for me on, XA USD. I don't know if someone is dropping a message in our group. Okay. So USDCHF, so you see how important, by the way, fair value gaps are. If you have a key level overlapping the fair value gap, it's pretty good. So for me on XA, on, USDCHF, again, literally the same thing. Start from, I said it at the beginning of July, at the ending of June, that, I'll be anticipating some sells on, USD pairs. So, we had this. This can actually be somewhat regarded as a total body soup. This can be regarded as a total body soup. Someone was asking me on the group, is a total body soup. I also have a total body soup on, I think, let me go down. I think one of these two pairs that I used also to sell. So I had this breakout to the downside. This is indicating to me that on the daily, we're bearish, at least short term, until at least if this low is taken also, or this key level is taken again, that would be, a very good indication that we're going to be selling. So I had all these zones ready. This fair value gap is also there as where price would reverse from. Now, on the daily, I have this, right, as a breakout to the downside, but I also have this, right? I have this sweep of the previous daily high, and then, going to the 4-hour, I have this break of structure to the downside on the 4-hour. That's confirming my bias is, is bearish. I have, some liquidity here, just take this liquidity. It's still liquidity. Once it's swept, I'm happy. I've seen my 4-hour liquidity. I go down to the 1-hour and I look for an engulfing, which is one of my favorites on the 1-hour. And then I literally just take it. set my limit here, cover this high, set my limit for 3 point something hour, or I use my liquidity point here. My closest liquidity is here, but this is actually the low of Tuesday, right? The low of Tuesday, I think, right? So this right here was Tuesday, yeah. So Tuesday gave us the AMD, I forgot the name, accumulation, gave us the accumulation candle. Wednesday gave us the manipulation candle, and Thursday gave us the expansion candle, right? So my target was obviously this low, very, there's nothing much to it really. So took this sell all the way down, it was sniper entry. I was expecting something nice here, but you can't, I don't take things from the 1 hour, but I was expecting a possibility here. But you see, once that was disrespected, it started to, respect that for some buys all the way up, right? So that's that for this one. This one, the criteria was missing. There was, actually, there is a small fair value gap right here. So criteria still met. But when I was journaling, I saw it actually after I was journaling. So that's basically it. Really very, very simple trades. So I'll review my loss after I look at USDJPY because I had a loss on Japan 225. I had a loss on Japan 225. So for USDJPY, I think this was my best trade last week because of how the candle expanded. So on the daily, there was nothing very clear, to be very honest. I had this break of structure right here to the downside. It was indicating to me that we're actually somewhat bearish. There was a reaction here that's, there was that reaction there. But it was done because this low was swept. We are expecting that this high will go, and it went. Right? So once you see internal range liquidity taking, you can expect an expansion. External range liquidity taking, you can expect a reversal. So I can take this as a break of structure. It's a weak one, right? But it is, actually a break of structure. So if you're taking from here, you're looking at the nearest, key level somewhat that, price can reverse from. So I go to the 4 hour. Can I see a breakout to the downside? Yes, I see a breakout to the downside right here. And all I need is some sort of liquidity, maybe on the 4 hours. That'll be good to see. And I have this. So this is the total body soup right here. This is a total body soup. It still swept that zone as liquidity tapped into I was expecting more here. My limit is still my alert was still here. It didn't trigger, but I was on the chart, so I could see that the reaction was still going to happen. I was looking for, I could have taken this, but, this was actually what it reacted to, this one right here. Reacted to this key level at the end of the day. So after that, we can scroll through any of the time frames. So this is where a lot of people probably did not look. So me, I've seen most of my system. So I'm now looking for a confirmation, which would be a 1 hour breakout to the downside or an engulfing. So I zoomed as crazy as possible, even though brokers can be crazy, and I did have an engulfing. That as small as it is not ideal to take when it's small like this, but everything on the chart matters, no matter how small. This gave me an engulfing. Whether I like it or not, it's an engulfing. It's small, but it's an engulfing. But because, I know my system, so I'm looking for my system. So I just open it, see it. I saw the engulfing. I said, it's okay. I'll take my entry there. Even on my MT5, I took my entries somewhat up here. I didn't take right here, but this was I did direct entry once it was inside my stop loss. So it was literally 1 hour candle, expanded all the way down. I didn't set my target here because of spread on brokers. I've learned my lesson because I've seen that I'll be so close to TP to go back to my entry. So imagine if I had like an entry here, or I had 2 pips below, like as my exit, I'll be crying because I'll be expecting price to actually take this liquidity out. But if you look very closely, it did. And I was telling you, these are the things you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention to the little things. It has taken liquidity, it's sharp liquidity. once external range liquidity has been swept, you can expect a reversal. So it swept, and what I knew I wanted to do was I did not want to be in the trade at the open of the next hour. So these are little things that, you know, when you trade, you look at, right? So I closed right before, so you can check I had a 30 something. I think I had a 300. Yeah, so somewhere around here, I closed my trade. It was like my best trade because like I was not even on the charts. I was just like working and then looking at the chart. It was in an hour I was out. It was my last trade of the week. So basically that's it. I had this on UK. This was a structural trade. After break of structure, the next pullback is liquidity. On MT5, it actually came to this level, but it didn't pick me because I think there was some news or something. But you can see from here that on this daily, you can be expecting buys on UK 100. On the daily, we have a sweep of the previous day's high. It's it's actually mixed signals for me at this point because this is my system for sales on the daily. I have this sweep and then I'm expecting price to sell. But overall on the weekly, you know, immediately what we are looking at is, do we have a 4-hour break of structure to the upside? Yes, we do. So we are just expecting price to do something like this. Just expecting price to come to a level like this. We have a fair value gap. You know, we have maybe another 4-hour liquidity here. So we'll just be expecting price to retrace somewhere in here and, and buy. So based on what we are seeing at this point, that's why I don't like to engage on Mondays. You don't really know Mondays for me are like manipulation days. So, but what I see right now on the daily, I have a sweep of the previous daily high. The high is still standing all the way up there. Although we have a breakout to the downside also, but the most recent breakout to the upside is on the 4-hour is for buys. So again, if you sweep external range liquidity, you can expect a reversal in the short term. In the long run, we are bullish. As you can see on the weekly, in the long run, we are bullish for UK 100. So I would not engage this. This is the type of thing I would engage. I was expecting buys here, but this expansion, obviously, it's a crazy one. So you can also still be looking at this zone for your exit if you're buying, and then for an entry if you're going to be selling all the way back down. That's what I'll be looking at. Because here on the daily, I have a breakout to the downside. So anytime I see a tap somewhere here, if I see a tap in this zone on the daily, see a tap right here on the daily, this is for next week, right? If I see a tap in here and I see a break of structure on the 4 hours, I'll be selling it down. That's what I'll be looking at for this guy. I'll be selling it down. If I see a break of structure on the 4 hour after, a rejection of the key level, because this fair value gap is a key level. If I see a rejection on the 4 hour break of structure on the downside, I'll take it down. So, XAG, nothing, but let's look at Japan 225 and then we can look at our questions. I took a very crazy loss on Japan 225 last week. Before I got my buy bias, by the way. This was my buy bias. And it actually tapped, by the way, but it didn't trigger yet again, it didn't trigger my alert. It was very close to it, but it didn't trigger it. But it was pretty much what I was expecting. And then I didn't get any entry. There was nothing much on the 1 hour to do. The weeks were too much, so it's really nothing I could do. I just leave trades like this. There's no need to engage. But I know that this should be the target we should be looking at for sure for Japan 5. But I don't see anything solid for me to engage. If I don't see, I would not. So, but this looks good. If I look at structure, let me look at 1 hour. If I look at the structure, you can see as it swept, this high is definitely a target. But if there is a reversal, this is the break of structure on the 1 hour. You can say this is a mild reversal. So this looks like a good level that you want to take an entry. It could also look around here, but it's just that the weeks are too much for me to like engage. But this is a good level. Where is it? This one. This levels are good. This looks like a QM that would, that should hold. So I'll just be looking for a buy. I don't know if someone dropped a message on the group because we have 10 minutes more on the call. So we can, so I took my loss here, somewhere around my loss. Yeah, so I took my loss somewhere around here. I was expecting, a reversal somewhere here. Even though previous week I had a buy, I had a sell that, landed somewhere here, I think. But this was a loss. I took a loss somewhere here. I didn't even see any good confirmation entry. I think that was a personal error. It wasn't the market, obviously. It was just a personal error. So after this, your daily is rejecting daily. So when you are building your storyline, you can expect that if a daily key level is being used, you can expect that the next target for that key level, for that move would be the next key level. So this should be, if you were buying from here, which would have been difficult, this should be your target one, then maybe this target two, right? So whichever key level it's meeting, is where you should actually target. So it means that after this rejection, I'll be looking at this high. So I should not have been selling by default, even though there was a breakout to the downside, but I ignored this most recent action by market. This was the rejection that came up here. I was selling on a trade like this. It didn't make any sense. So I shouldn't have been doing that. But, I saw some things. I think this was not even a breakout to the downside. So it was a very stupid loss. Looking in hindsight, it was a very stupid loss. But I think this is where emotions were coming. So I was high on Japan 225, selling. So I think I was looking for more of it. That's a personal error. It's a very stupid one. I shouldn't have been selling. There's nothing there. There's really nothing there. I shouldn't have been selling. So yeah, so you pay attention to what is market doing. So that's what a storyline actually is. Where is market coming from? Where is it going? So it has tapped here. You can expect that this high should be going, right? So that's an expectation, and you execute based on, expectation. So when your expectation comes to reality on the chart, then that's when you execute, right? So that's my review for last week. For next week, yes, here I'm still looking for buyers. I don't really have any nice entry here, to be honest. I might sit JP Japan 225 out. So on Tuesday, I'll see what happens, and if there's something clean for me, I'll probably take it. So any questions? I think Raja had a question, so let me take a couple of questions.
Okay. Oh, that's a question.
Okay.
Sorry, I wanted to ask you, I saw something interesting on silver. Good morning, by the way. I saw something interesting on silver.
Yeah.
And for next week, but then it's quite close to what would have been the entry, a sell. It's quite close to what would have been the entry. So in that kind of scenario, what would you typically do? Would you say, oh, you want to watch what it does, and then probably it taps and down sells on Monday, or would you just engage based on the fact that you have an entry?
I would leave it on Monday, 100%.
You leave it on Monday.
I would not touch anything on Monday. I've decided not to even do my MT5 because I think my loss, for instance, on Japan 225 was on Monday.
Oh wow, okay.
I don't trade. I've decided not to trade on Monday. But if we're looking at this now, right, we're seeing a reaction off of this, weekly open close. Usually would be a key level also on, on the daily or the time frame below. So what did you say you were seeing?
I was actually seeing a sell based off of that, like a CRT, weekly CRT. You could see that it was a sweep, right? And then it started coming down and it gave a daily breakout, I think, and 4 hours also.
Yeah. I mean, so this is it, right? The previous week has swept last week swept previous weekly high. Low is still standing. Looks like we're actually overall bearish, especially on the weekly. So if we go down to the daily, do we have a breakout to the downside? We don't.
We actually do. If you zoom out probably very well, like you did the other time. You will see there's one small breakout.
Would I take this one? Where's price coming from? There is a breakout. It's a very weak one, just like the other one. But will I take it? I won't take it. I won't take this one because it's on a higher time frame. For me to actually build like a really good bias, because this is the most recent clear breakout to the upside. This thing give us an engulfing, but I won't engage this. Like I can see it's a clear. These are multiple rejection candles from this key level. There's something here that price doesn't want to go there. So you might be expecting more sales. It's very possible that price will want to come here, tap here, and go up. This looks like a very nice possibility as a buy, actually, as a sell first down here, because this has been taken. You can expect a reversal, and there's a 4-hour break of structure to the downside. So you can expect a small reversal, but don't take it like, I don't think you should take it like long. It should be like a quick in and out, because this is the system really. Like you've seen a previous daily high swept, you've seen a break of structure to the downside. So you can actually expect like some sells. Where it's going to sell from, I can't tell you. So here now we've swept this high also. So we want to look at something nice on the daily. I can't see anything that fits my system on the daily. There's no engulfing for me. It's just telling me that price wants to disrespect. Because if for the core system, if one is not there, one not being there doesn't make any sense. This will have been a loss if I had tried to take it, because this is not even like a real clear engulfing for me, by the way, on 30 minutes.
I think there was like a QM on the 2 hour, if I'm not being mistaken. But I think, I'm going to stay out of this trade actually, since there are so many caveats. So, yeah. There was the 2 hour QM, I think.
Currently none, but I can see sharp. But for me, I'll not take it. I'll just chill. For XAU, for me the buys look clearer on XAU, and they are correlated. So just we'll see this one out. So we have like 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Welcome. So Raja, you had a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, I want to know how to build our directional bias from weekly down to daily.
Okay. So that's what we.
My thought process is like I see first weekly most recent breakout upside or downside.
Yeah.
And in the same direction, I see the daily breakout.
Yeah.
Then H4 is correct.
Correct. So if you have, because you can build liquidity either with key levels or with liquidity. So if you have a key level as your, if you have a key level, let me just even, hold on, let me see. So if you have a weekly key level breakout to the downside,
yes,
it's even better, right? So for this one, for instance, if you have this weekly key level, right? This doesn't, it didn't tap, but it tapped here. So you got whoosh. So we have very few minutes more, 9-10 minutes. Okay, so if you use this one, right, you had this key level, tap into this key level, this fair value gap on the weekly. So this is a breakout to the upside, right? So on the daily, what you would be expecting to see is a breakout to the upside here that will confirm your bias. But since there's a rejection, it means that it's not confirmed. So you can't take it. But it's very valid for you to start with. If it's a breakout to the downside on weekly and daily, it works. I don't have any example here, but it's the same thing. So if you're building your bias with key levels, you are expecting a rejection, which means price will tap into that A-shape key level on the weekly, tap into it, and give you a breakout if you want a breakout on the weekly. But most times...
Sir, I have one question on breakout also.
Yeah.
So, someone says we have to see the breakout before the level made before the key level tapped. A-shape or V-shape level made before the key level tapped.
So there
some
are two.
People...
There are two. And it's... there is one that is stronger. right? So let me give you an example. So here, right? So if you take this key level works. But when, can I use this one? Let me use another one. Let me try to quickly find one. This is a breakout. So there are two types. There's you can call it type 1 and type 2 breakouts, right? So the breakouts, I really wish I could get a pair that will be clear. So the breakouts that would be ideal is not this breakout here, for instance. This one you can say is a breakout, actually. You can say it's a breakout. But this breakout happened after this sweep, and it is inside this structure right here. This is the structure. This is the one that caused that high up here. When it breaks here, you are like, this is a stronger break of structure, right? It's a stronger breakout to the downside. So some people don't take this breakout. People would rather take this breakout, right? And you can see what happened after this breakout with this overlapping imbalance, right? So this breakout is stronger than this one because this was the structure that caused this high. So once this is broken, this structure that caused this high is actually broken, it's a stronger breakout. It's actually a better indication that actually market is changing direction. I hope you get it, because it's logic. It's not, yeah.
So we have to take only just type 1 breakout only.
I take both. It just depends on if I see my confirmation on the lower time frame. I take both.
After breakout, we have to take confirmation entry only QM levels and A shape and V shape levels.
You can take confirmation entry. You can use QMs, but I use engulfing. That's what I use. 1 hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. So yeah, we have just 6 minutes left, so we can take one question. Otherwise, we are actually very good. We've had a good session. So no other questions then. Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining. Would hope to pray for a profitable week ahead. Once I see things from Tuesday, I'm not going to be doing much on Monday. But maybe from evening I'll look at the charts, and then from Tuesday I'll start trading and dropping what I see as my entries. Again, thanks everyone, and have a profitable week ahead. God bless you.